The British Finance Minister Sajid Javid has now stepped down. Sajid Javid resigned as the UK Chancellor following a row with Boris Johnson, who asked him to fire his closest advisers in order to keep his position. Sajid Javid has served as a Chancellor of the Exchequer since July 2019, when Boris Johnson was first appointed Prime Minister. Javid was also due to be present to deliver the first budget after the UK's departure from the EU in March. As per reports, Rishi Sunak, the Treasury Chief Secretary who stood in for Johnson in televised debates during the general election campaign, is likely to be appointed as Javid's replacement. Rishi Sunak is a favourite within number 10 on Boris Johnson's list. Rishi Sunak is the son-in-law of Indian billionaire Narayan Murthy, first elected to the Parliament in 2015. Sunak previously served as the second in command to the Finance Minister, overseeing the public spending work. And joining us is our correspondent Benji Haya, live from London. Benji, first fill in us with the details that have emerged so far. What made Sajid Javid take that decision?
Absolutely. This is a massive development in British politics. This was supposed to be a relatively calm, smooth reshuffle where the Prime Minister Boris Johnson decides to take some ministerial jobs away from some people and move them to others. We saw a couple of dismissals, a couple of different decisions taken earlier in the day. And then around an hour ago, it was announced that Sajid Javid, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, the equivalent of the Finance Minister here, one of the most senior roles in government, that he would be stepping down, and he is only the second shortest serving Chancellor that this country has ever had. So really quite a shock. A Chancellor that was supposed to be giving his budget in a couple of weeks' time as well. Now, how this came about is really going into the complications of internal British politics, but essentially one of the Prime Minister's senior aides,
All right, we'll just try and reconnect that line with Benji. Sajid Javid has... All right, going back across to Benji, who's joining us from London. Benji, go ahead.
Yes, so as I was saying, Sajid Javid resigning from his role as Chancellor of the Exchequer after Dominic Cummings, one of Boris Johnson's most senior advisers, weighed in to this discussion and certainly, I think, provided some sort of, I think in going into the internal politics of Westminster is a complicated matter, but essentially one of the Prime Minister's senior advisers, Dominic Cummings, felt that Sajid Javid, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, had too many senior advisers around him, did not want that sort of influence. And when Boris Johnson asked Sajid Javid to effectively fire those senior advisers, Sajid Javid refused and he resigned. Now, this means that Rishi Sunak is going to be the next Chancellor of the Exchequer, a meteoric rise for someone that was a junior minister only about a year ago, someone, as you say, of Indian descent, and someone who many now think will go along with what Boris Johnson wants in terms of his expenditure plans and really stick to the brief, something that Sajid Javid clearly did not want to do.
And Rishi Sunak, from what the reports say, has been quite a favourite on Boris Johnson's list.
That's correct. I mean, this was still quite unexpected, so we thought that Sajid Javid would still be Chancellor of the Exchequer. It's only after the announcement that people raised the idea of Rishi Sunak taking over instantly, but he was in line for a promotion, maybe to another role in government, say the Business Secretary. Now, though, he is going to be the Chancellor, and he will have his budget, one should think, in just a couple of weeks' time. This is someone that has relentlessly supported Boris Johnson, who voted to leave the European Union in that Brexit referendum in 2016, and should be someone that actually goes along with what the government wants, what Boris Johnson wants, what perhaps Dominic Cummings, the Prime Minister's senior advisor, wants as well. It's a massive, massive decision for Sajid Javid to step down. someone that was supposed to be leading the finance legislation for this government for many months, potentially many years as well. Rishi Sunak now is a person who has that responsibility. The baton has gone over to him, and Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, will be hoping that he'll be able to go along with the government's agenda on many different issues.
Leaving it there for the moment, Benji, thanks very much.